Okay, so finally I get on here to say that it is Christmas Day and I've come on to record a little. Do want to say that there's probably just some things I kind of miss a little bit because things are a little out of my routine since I'm not going to work, since I'm having my break, and always have enjoyed just kind of getting out, see people sometimes, and it gets a little hard and difficult sometimes because, places are closed, everybody's at home with their families, nobody's really much on social media to chat on a day like today, so it just kind of gets a little different. And so this year it was kind of a different kind of year for me, and in a lot of good ways. We had some family over last night for Christmas Eve, and we went ahead and opened our gifts. Didn't really have any left to open this morning after we got up, but we had breakfast. We at least did that. We kind of played with some stuff. I mean, little niece, little girl going on 4 years old, played with her toys. That kind of, just did us all some good. I decided to wash up some dishes after everybody. Just, I'd say sometimes I'd rather be doing something, staying busy doing something, so I just decided to work at that. Been doing a little bit of cleaning up of this little area that I work in. You can probably see how some things have been a little more tidied than they were the last time you saw this area on cam. I have to say that it's been a day when, we have our moments sometimes, and believe me, I tell y'all, I have my moments. I sometimes feel like holidays come around and get these little moments when I just feel a little temptation to maybe say something Scrooged now and then. Not necessary to do, shouldn't do it. Problem was, back in my years, probably my first year working full time over Christmas and all, and busy making gifts, I'd say I was kind of exhausted when it came down to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and that was the year. I'd say I enjoyed having it coming up, but when the day finally came, I was acting kind of Scrooged. Probably because I was just kind of tired, exhausted from just all the stress that had been going on. But it's the kind of thing where times change a little bit. You get a little more used to it. And I'd say this year, especially, it's my first year working at the job I'm working at. So that's kind of one thing that's made things a little different here and there. And even some of my social environments and places I've gone to relax, I'd say that's changed a little bit as far as just how things go and how places go. I'd say that I got a few good little Kindle books today, I mean, last night and yesterday about carving, had them on my wish list. Got some new shirts that I needed. Kind of got a little Starbucks gift card. I do like to go to Starbucks and get coffee a lot, so that's kind of a good thing. It just always kind of, I'd say, just really depends on my best moods and all. There's some things I think I can handle a little bit better than I used to because times change a little bit and I change a little bit, and sometimes I say it's a little bit more relaxing to be in places these days, but whoa, let me tell you, business is so hard these days. There's just so much math to do for business, and every quarter of the year have to pay sales taxes, so it kind of gets a little rough here and there. And I'd say, if I'm going to have my hobby and sell my work, that's kind of just the way it has to go. So I'd probably say there's some things I'd prefer a little bit less of in my hands to do, but I'd tell y'all that this little time in my life, there's just a time when we can finally get a little rest now and then. Sometimes, just sometimes, the things you just kind of feel to really be your callings in life, they kind of tire you and wear you down a little bit. And so sometimes we just don't know where we're going to go next. I have a little things to show as far as probably what I've carved for a few days, and I do need to get a little more tidying up done in here because I have some Dremel bits that have kind of disappeared and feel like I need to find them, but I've been getting things out again, and tell y'all I got a little piece of poplar that I had kind of cut out in some blanks for retrievers a while back, and decided since I did golden retrievers from these in the past, since this is a dark green poplar that turns black when you dye it, so decided that could become black labs, or better yet, it becomes black when you soak it in the linseed oil, rather, which is kind of the way I do with all my carvings. And there's probably other things I've worked on. Gotta find them in all the mess. I decided to work on a little Kentucky coffee tree fox lately. Had a couple of blanks done out for that. Decided I would, I've probably shown these parrots before, but this is just one little thing. I just call this random puppy. I don't know what breed to put it under, but my original intention was for this to be a dachshund. I've already carved one of these before, and whenever I took it out to shows, it didn't look like a dachshund to people, and found out it was because it needed a longer body. And so I redid the pattern and I made a dachshund with a longer body, and I carved out a few of those before. So that's just kind of how that has worked out. This could just be just a little random dog, I'd say. That's all that I know how to call it. And with all things that I've worked on and done, there's been a few pieces I took out lately, and sometime before on Instagram I showed what I've been working on here. This is a little plaque with some kudu on it, and you see how I'll tell you all a little bit of stuff about this, because whenever I was cutting things out of the chestnut wood on the saw, I came out with little scraps that were in these shapes and knew they were a good shape for little kudu antlers. And then after some certain other work I had were the pieces that came out, the guanacosti that came out in these little shapes that I knew would make good ears. And then there was the pieces that came out in this shape that I knew would make good little heads. So I put all that together and actually had a scrap of wood that was about this shape and just sliced it off with the knife, took little slices off the scrap of wood and put them together into this circle and into these designs to kind of make it so the kudu has the hump on the back, and a couple of them that I make for the legs down here. And for all things I say, there's been quite a lot of work to go on, so I've sort of sorted out little patterns here, made things the best I could, retrieved a few bottles of super glue out of all the mess, and I'd say there's just a little funny thing I'll tell you about little erasers like these. There was a little meme I found about them that I've shared it around a little bit, and it was one that said not only did these not work, they also tore the paper. They were these little thick hard erasers. They kind of sure did. they kind of did that. And so, I mean, and I'd say probably 20 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that, I purchased a bunch of these from the Dollar Tree and saved them in a can, and currently use them to erase pencil mark off of wood. But these ones have the little Christmassy designs, so that's what is special about these for the time of year that we're in. And so I'd say that's kind of what I have to show for today. And little things like that, we kind of use them year round, and we know that things are going to go a little stranger and smoother. And this right here is the scrap which I sliced the pieces off of to make the koodoos. Thought I had used that scrap all the way up, but had a couple of them. Probably used up one already, but probably had one left that I still had some pieces left to use. And there's just little things in life where I'll share so much more as far as what I want to carve and work on, but do need to tell you all about these little elephants here, these types of things. Brought these out, hope to carve them soon, and I'll tell you all, there's probably going to be a little scrap of walnut that I have that, given its shape, it might even be able to cut a couple of scraps out of to carve little donkeys. And knowing that elephants are the Republican Party, donkeys are the Democrat Party, it could probably be a little thing where people could purchase either one just to support their own party. And makes me think of something I heard at Eleanor Carter's funeral, or Rosalind Carter's funeral, I'm trying to say, where somebody mentioned when they preached that she did not worship the elephant or the donkey, she only worshiped the lamb. And yes, the lamb, the Lord Jesus, the one who came to earth, God as a baby in the flesh, the Son of God as well, who came to earth, born of a virgin in Bethlehem to save the sins of many. He is the reason for the season. He is the reason we celebrate. Many people just kind of have this as just a traditional holiday in their calendar, but as for me, I believe it started with the Lord Jesus. I believe that He's the reason for the season. As of these things I showed you in the last video, but I couldn't remember for sure, but added a little more detail to the Native American face. And I say of all things that found a few other things as I was cleaning up. Found all my strops. Had a lot of old ones. I do want to share with you all a little news that I received. This probably, I'd say it happened on Thursday, and I received the news Friday night. Can't remember whether I had recorded since then or not, or whether it was even there to mention in the last video, but another one of my fellow wood carvers passed away. It was somebody who was, in the guild, and the very first time I attended a meeting at Manny's in 2008 with the Wood Carvers Guild. I mean, I picked up a gouge to carve with the very first time I carved anything, and knew that it could cut into the wood, but wasn't aware how sharp it was. Got a little slice along here on my finger, and that kind of had to go be sewn up in the ER, but this guy Ray Durham, the one we just lost, I tell you, he was there that day, and he helped me clean it up at the sink and bandage it up, and he told me, no matter how pretty or ugly you are, no matter how poor or rich you are, if you're going to handle a sharp tool, you're going to get cut. So, that was kind of little things we learn, lessons in life, and he kind of helped me learn a lot. Sometimes he'd be among the people at Woodcraft. He worked there, he managed there. Sometimes when I needed mill work done, I'd take my wood there and he'd do it. So it was all just good of him just to be there to do these things. And one thing I'd like to mention about him is that he requested a cremation and to have his ashes put out by a certain river. And I even saw that, since it's winter time, they're going to wait until the spring to hold that ceremony so that it'll be weather permitting. That will be the little great thing that comes about that we do. I'd say that there's so much in life. There's people we miss. There's people that are going to come and go. But I always believe that one day there's a reunion that takes place up in heaven where we all just see each other again for eternity. I always wish the best to people who made the best of themselves in my life, and wish the best to his family, because I've seen some of his family posts and commented on some of them, shared it to my Facebook business page as obituary. So I appreciate the fact that people come on here to watch these videos, that they come on here to look at my pages, on my business pages, on Facebook and Instagram. And I'd like to mention that one thing I'm hoping I might be able to purchase, since I got some Amazon gift cards like I always do, is come online and I'd say perhaps, purchase a type of tripod that I can put this tablet on that might make it where the video will be more focused towards me and where I can adjust it to have it show down on my hands while I'm carving something. That would be a great thing to show and to see, and hopefully I can kind of get a little bit more done when I go about that. Hopefully have more for you all to see with my work and what I do and all the things that working at just to try to make business get a little better. And and I'll tell y'all I'm yawning a lot today because I tell you it's probably kind of been some exhausting times, and trying to get on here to record to wish you all happy holidays and tell you all, like I'm saying, it's good to just enjoy the holidays while you can. You can enjoy your relief from it afterwards, but it is all just good to try to appreciate the days while you have them and just learn, don't be Scrooged over all the stresses, because it'll all get better in time, and, you're going to kind of take your next stuff into the next year, and every year just has one more thing added onto it. Hopefully this year, the difference in my videos will be the addition that is made. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays or a Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, whatever your holiday is, Kwanzaa or whatever. I wish you all the best one. I wish you all everything that you want in life, that you pursue your dreams and your happiness and be yourself, be who you are. Don't try to please everybody, and just appreciate those who appreciate you. May God bless you always, and I wish you all the best at these holidays and all the year through. Thank you so much for coming on and watching. Take care and have a good rest of the day.